All right there, YouTube. We're back here again. We're going to do a little work to the Gold Jeep. The vinyl kit came in, so we can put the sound deadener and the vinyl kit in there. But for this video, we're not going to be doing that quite yet. We're going to figure out why my sending unit is not reading the level of the fuel. So I got to drop the tank, and then while we're back there, I'm going to go ahead and cut out that little hole in the back for access to the fuel pump, and make a plate and all that stuff. So I'll show you guys that later. And while we're back there and dropping the plate, we're going to replace the nut strips with these heavy duty brackets to give some strength to behind the bumper and that part of the frame, and just give something better to bolt all that stuff up to, because it holds the skid plate for the fuel tank and the hitch. So I got these, and we're going to put those in there. And while we're back there, we got to pull the bumper anyway, so I figured that we're going to install this bumper off the white Jeep. And I wanted some brighter backup lights, because these are the same as what's on the Gold Jeep. This little reverse light is not bright enough, and even though my lenses on it need to be changed, they're still not going to be bright enough. So I looked around, and all I wanted was something small, and it was either a video or on the forums that somebody was reviewing these. They installed them on a work van, and they were pretty bright before and after. He looked like he lived out in the country, or was somewhere out in the country, and he lit up a big driveway, across the driveway, and then he lit up the trees and a little past them with two of these. So I bought two of them, and I think the bracket, since it goes like right up behind here somewhere, like right around in there, I think about like that, somewhere on either side, is going to be just perfect. So we'll get that done. I think to start, I'm going to go ahead and take some measurements and stuff, mark it off with a silver Sharpie where we're going to cut out for this thing to lay in and bolt up, and then we'll paint it up for rust protection, and then mount those in, and then set this off to the side while we do all the rest of the stuff that we need to do. So I'm going to get all set up. I'll get marked off, and I'll show you guys probably before I cut it. But I bought these off of Amazon, these and those. Pretty good deals. So, or no, I think actually I got these off of eBay. But anyway, you can look them up. There's what they are, 900 lumens. I think that'll be plenty with two of them. I just want to make sure that I'm not running anybody over or running into any obstacles or vehicles that are behind me when I'm out in the dark. So I will get this all set up and bring you guys back. Alright guys, we're back. Got this all laid out, drilled some holes, and I took some measurements off of this side and applied it over here, drilled it out, and that's just so that when I get the cutoff wheel with I'm probably going to use the die grinder with a little 3-inch cutoff wheel. I can cut it out, and these are just to keep me from hopefully cutting too far in, even though like going over my lines, even though this has a pretty good edge of covering a lot of that. And I figured that I'd like it right there, because I can put the bolts will go through this little section right in here. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm gonna go find out how I'm gonna cut these out and what I'm gonna use, and then I'm gonna cut it out, and I'll bring you guys back and show you, probably by laying one of them things in there, and then we'll mark off the holes for the bolts to mount it, and move on to the next part. It's all put together. One thing that I noticed, I don't know how it happened, but the hole on this side, I made it a little too big, so the I had to like notch it out just to be able to get the bolts through, but there's still at least enough material there to do that. But this one and then this one ended up too small, and I thought I took all the measurements the same, but somehow they ended up different. But it looks like they're pretty well where I want them, so I'm gonna set this thing off to the side until we get around to putting it back together. So I just used the die grinder with a cutoff wheel, and then I used the little rotary tool to deburr everything and make it nice and notch out for the bolt holes on this side and clean it up. And then I was able to drill holes actually for that side, and then I just used the rotary to kind of open them up because they were a little off. But I think it'll look good, and I think they will work out just fine. It's not perfect. I can already tell that one's a little higher than that one, but you know, whatever. So I'm gonna set this off to the side, and then it's getting a little late, so I think I'm gonna clean up, and then we'll get started tomorrow on doing the removing the fuel tank, or at least dropping it down enough to get the fuel pump and cinder and all that stuff out of it. But we'll pull this bumper off and probably fix it, and put it on the blue Jeep. But yeah, it'll be fun, and then we can work on the inside. We'll get all this stuff cleaned out of here and carpet pulled and do all that good stuff. So that's it for right now. I will bring you guys back when we get around to doing all the rest of it. Alright guys, we're here in the back of the Gold Jeep. I went ahead and I pulled the back of the seat out, ripped the carpet out. I think we're going to get rid of these little tabs here. I don't think I need them. And then if I need something, I can always screw into the floor in the future, I think. And then reattach them if needed. Let's see. So after I did all that, I popped out that plug thinking that it was right over the fuel tank for that panel. And I apologize too, sometimes my mouth gets muffled because I'm wiping my nose and stuff, and you can see there's like holes back here for something. I'll have to fill them in or something. I'm not sure what those are for. But I got under there though. Since that's not over the fuel tank and the fuel pump and sending unit, I felt around and found that this rib right here was kind of over the fuel pump and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole so I can peer down through it and see how much I need to, you know, kind of take out, and then we'll just cut out as we go and try to get it perfect. But I'm going to take my leather welding apron there and set it over the top of the fuel lines and stuff that are back here, and see if that won't protect it. And then we'll just probably use the die grinder with a cutoff wheel and yeah, get it cut out, so then we don't have to drop the tank. We can just do that part of it from inside and then build the panel and seal it and all that good stuff. But let's see, we're still gonna do the behind the bumpers. I still got to get this bumper off. We'll still have to take the bolts and everything out of the hitch, the receiver and everything, and the fuel tank. We're gonna have to put a jack and stuff under these to hold them up, and then we can slip those bracket things in there, strengthening brackets. But we'll do that after we take care of this. So I'm gonna get to work, and then I'll show you guys kind of what I'm doing, and then maybe I'll take some measurements off of what I done and give them to you guys, so then you can just come back here and you won't even have to mess around with all this stuff. You can just go out and be like, rip out your carpet and go off my measurements, and hopefully it'll get you in the ballpark of where you guys need to be if you end up doing the fuel tank like I did and want to do this for ease of access. So I will get started, and then I'll bring you guys back and show you. Real quick, I put a light under there, and I was able to peer through that hole and see that the top of the fuel pump and stuff is like right around in here. So I just kind of made lines. They're kind of rough, not straight, but I'm going to cut that section out first, and then we'll cut out more as needed. But I think that's going to up to this line, and to about here is where like I could see the circle for that fuel pump retaining nut thing. This will probably be as far over as we need to go, and probably as far forward as we need to go. So I'm just going to cut this out, and then we'll move over as needed. Got that part cut out. There you can see the top of the fuel tank, and if we look at it kind of straight, then yeah, this line here and this one here I think are just perfect. I might straighten them out a little bit because they are a little bit crooked, but they're good enough. Now I just got to figure out how far back I want to come. I'm thinking probably I'm going to draw a line probably like back in here somewhere, and just follow that line and meet it. And then I think probably somewhere in here we may end up around in this area having to like angle down, because underneath is the that bracket bracing for the shocks. Waiting for the planes to go by, the jets. But yeah, I think yeah, so there it is. So we're probably gonna cut kind of at an angle over towards this side here, so we don't interfere. And I apologize that that's in the way, and that whole thing right there is kind of temporary. That's my diff breather. Yeah, so you can kind of see the hole. So I think we'll kind of angle that side and cut it out. So I'm gonna go and finish marking out where I need to go. And yeah, I think probably somewhere over in here for this side, and then probably let's see, probably like I'm gonna go ahead and go with like something right in there. We'll just follow this one all the way down, and then we're gonna meet over there with that. And then I think probably, I want to say probably right in there somewhere. And good thing that we look, because I did something I shouldn't be doing. I'm working with that bracelet, and I need to take it off. I always wear copper. You guys have probably seen it. I always try to remember to take this off, because I don't want to get hung up or caught in between some electrical current and burn my hand off, because I've seen that happen. So yeah, so I think we'll go ahead and we'll cut this section out and kind of cut up to about in here, and then probably like right up in there somewhere, and then we'll just cut over at an angle, and then we'll judge on how close we are to that bracing underneath, and then we can always cut out more up in here if needed. But I think that's going to give us enough to be able to access that thing down there. Here's the final piece, that I cut out. I had to cut out more. I think I cut a little too much. down in here, but I was mindful of my cutoff wheel, so I didn't cut into my top of my tank at all. Probably could have done good at, you know, maybe not cutting so far back, but it is weak right in through here. Not so much here or here or here, because there's braces running up in those areas. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this flat strap, I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to make a little frame right here, and I'm going to weld it to, whether I spot weld it or if I go along the sides and weld it in, you know, like inch increments. I don't know. We'll figure that out, but I'm thinking I might even weld some nuts to the back side of this, you know, drill some holes, weld some nuts, and then use some Phillips screws, bolts, you know, to so they're more flat and flush, so when we put the sound deadener and stuff on top, it won't be like poking through the vinyl and everything. So I got quite a few strips of this. I think this is going to be plenty strong. Like I said, I don't have to worry so much on this side up in here, but I'm going to do just a frame all the way around anyway. And then that'll also give me something to seal on for when I build the plate. But I'm gonna work on that first, and then I'll work on getting that cleaned off down there and getting that fuel pump and stuff out, so we can figure out why my gauge isn't working. Okay guys, real quick, I got the measuring tape in here. Let's see, we're gonna try to figure out for you guys how far you guys could come over if you end up getting yourself one of those Genrite tanks and end up doing this stuff to yours. So keep in mind though that the ends of these, they do slip around, so it's not going to be exact, but it'll get you in the ballpark. So I think we're going to go off the edge of that wheel well there, and it's looking like we're going to hold it as straight as we can. Looks like it's like 15 and like 3/4 from there at that point of the wheel well over for this side, for the driver's side. And then let's see, let's go ahead and go for the other side off of this, almost the same point. And then let's see, so we got that there, and it's looking like it's probably almost 20 inches, so about 19/7/8 from that wheel well over to this passenger side cut. And then let's try to get this front line. You'll have to probably use your own judgment to where you want to cut this part out. But let's go about off of as close to this edge as we can. Let's get it to just to where the little hangover, to where it just the measuring tape sits down flat on that, you know, the floor. So we'll let it sit there, and it looks almost like it's 14. Let's just say 14.5. It is, you know, it's really close to that. Might be let's see, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 16ths, 14 and 9 16ths, but 14.5, somewhere around in there. And then if you'd like, maybe we'll use the same point, and we'll go to the back line, and it is, for mine, is around 23 1/8. If you guys can see that, to get this back cut towards the rear of the vehicle. And then if you want to use this plastic for the trim piece, it would be, looks like it's about, well, we'll just say about 11.5 for that. So those are the measurements. And you can add or subtract, you know, whatever you want. If you don't want this big of a hole, I think it'll be just fine. Excuse me. I have a special wrench to get this this nut off, so I wanted to have enough room to be able to put, tuck it in here and then be able to manipulate with it. But yeah, so now I'm gonna go back to building my frame. Okay guys, we're back. This thing's in here. Well, it's not in here, but it's laying in here. It's about what it's gonna be like. I think it's sitting where I would want it, and then I can go and I can clean up all the material from the floorboards around the edges afterwards. But I'm gonna mark off where I want to put some holes for some bolts and screws, whatever I'm gonna use. And then I think I'm just gonna clean around the edge, and I'm just gonna, like, I'll weld inch up this side, inch this side, and then in all the corners, and then I'll just weld, an inch more. But I got to figure out where I'm going to drill holes, and then I think I will weld some like flange nuts on the back side, so that when I build the plate to go over the top, it will just lay on there, and then it'll bolt through instead of using any kind of screws. So I'm gonna mark all that out and then get it drilled out, and then start getting it cleaned up in here and getting this thing ready to install. I'll have to run down and get the bolts and nuts that I want to use. I think I'll go check my hardware stuff, but then I'll probably end up going and getting something. So I will bring you guys right back.